Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Well, Michael, that was a great panel. And I think it gave credence to Jamie's opening remarks about how so many leaders, the majority of leaders, are investing heavily in AI innovation. But Jamie also mentioned something else, how many of them do not feel ready to manage the risks inherent in AI or even unlock the real value. It feels like AI is changing so fast that transformation now really feels constant. How are leaders keeping up?
Well, and I think the stat that Jamie shared was something on the order of 87%. And this is from our Kyndryl readiness report, and he mentioned tipping point. 3,800 respondents, C-suite, CEOs, COOs, et cetera. 87% were recognized as going to change the way work happens in their companies in the next 12 months. Yet only 29% think they have the right skills. So this is part of the challenge that we think people are really facing. And the other element of it, frankly, is it's the normal transformational challenges that companies have had. So, and I'll throw out another stat from our readiness report that is frankly shocking to me as a career practitioners. 95% of the participants that responded, they would redo their cloud strategies if they could do it over again. So think of how much money has been spent in the last decade and a half, 2 decades on cloud, and how much money is being plowed into AI. Oh my God, I would love the $1.5 billion to go do a data platform. And there are a few companies that have the money and have the pace setter kind of style to do that. But not everybody does. And I think that's what we're seeing. The reality is a lot of companies are struggling to find their way.
But why do CEOs feel so unprepared to manage these risks? What are you seeing?
A lot of it goes back to what we heard in the first panel. What you're hearing from them is a lot of what we call pace setter behavior in terms of alignment with senior leadership teams. A lot of this goes back to, again, my statement around transformations. And if you look the last several decades, how well have companies actually performed in those transformations? And a lot of it goes back to, do you have alignment within the senior leadership? Do you have alignment to vision, a business strategy, how your technology and your business strategy comes together to drive those business outcomes? When you don't have that alignment, you will not deliver on the transformation. And that's the same thing here. And whether it's dealing with your existing landscape, so Michelle referenced, $1.5 billion spent on their data platform. She's exactly right. You have to have your arms around your data. You have to have your arms around your ecosystem. I'm surprised to Mandeep's question that they didn't say they had challenges bolting on some of the AI capabilities to that existing landscape, because we do see those challenges. And that's why we think they're very challenged. You've got skills. You've got, frankly, the existing landscape. You've got the changing regulatory environments, sovereignty discussions. So a lot of change. And then the last element, it was also referenced in the last panel, culture. You all heard the saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So our belief, and this goes, I think Jamie referenced an announcement, we did announce today that we announced recently in July an agentic AI framework. And then in October, we filled out that a little bit more for folks to understand what that meant. And today, we really drilled into the workforce element of that. So it's an AI-focused workforce organizational change management and experience. And why? Because as you heard from some of the folks before, the nature of the work changes. Think about the person that 80% of what they do today is going to be done by agents. What are they going to do in the future? Are they just going to do that 20% of the work that's left? Or, and whether you're talking about people that are doing actuarial work, whether you talk about people that are lawyers, as we were talking about before, we believe this is fundamentally going to restructure roles and the workforce and the entire dynamic of how you're going to attract people to your company. So that's why we invested in putting these capabilities together. Obviously, you're not going to define this day one, because you have to identify the workflows that you're going to address and then how that is going to change. And as you think of it as this way, as you stack those workflows up in aggregate, that's what's going to drive that change. So we've set this up in a way that we're able to help our customers understand that change that's happening where they are as they continue to drive that change, so they can really execute that incremental strategy really from a baseline of understanding how to bring their people with them.
Well, as you said, Michael, we could talk about this for 3 hours, 3 weeks
Yes.
even. That's all we have time for today. I'm so sorry, but congratulations on your announcement. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Kyndryl, for supporting and making this event possible. Thank you.